Happy Sunday morning to you all. It is November 1st, Sunday, and it is just gorgeous here in Houston. We've got a clear sky this morning, very calm sky, maybe just a little bit of breeze, not much. It's about 55, 56 degrees. It's supposed to be low 70s today. Phenomenal. Fortunately, I'm going to be spending most of the day working instead of riding, but I'm going to mix my pleasures here and take the Ryker for work. So, I don't know if I've done a ride report on my latest trip that I took on the Ryker up to Arkansas. I recorded the vlogs and the ride series and all that, but I haven't had a chance to edit those yet. We got rained and blown out. It was too cold. Just couldn't hack it. The first day we got up to Arkansas was okay. It wasn't too bad. We ended up setting up camp. First night was pretty nice, but then it started getting real blustery and nasty later in the evening. We ended up fighting 25 to 30 mile an hour winds that first night, and then by the next morning we had a bunch of heavy fog and mist and rain and just crazy winds, steady 35 mile an hour winds with gusts well above 40 into the 50 range. It was pretty insane up on top of the mountain. So we hunkered down thinking, all right, well, maybe it'll calm down. And we spent Friday there at the park just kind of waiting it out, and unfortunately it didn't get any better. It just continued to decline. The roads were wet and slick, and it was very dense fog. You couldn't see more than half a block in front of you, so hell, we couldn't even see across our campground to the grass on the other side at some points. Okay, so we're at Queen Wilhelmina Park. Look at the fog. We are up here in the clouds, quite literally in the clouds. The weather can't decide what it wants to do. It was sunny and clear and actually getting kind of hot just a minute ago, and now it's foggy and cold again. So we've got this fog just rolling in around us here. It's really cool looking because you can just see sheets of it rolling in. There's a good one. It just rolls down. Look at that. That is so cool. Woo! Okay, now it's a whiteout. Man, you can't even see over there. We are in the clouds. That's just not safe riding weather. We thought, all right, we'll just stick it out and see what happens. Didn't get better. That night just was unreal. The wind and the rain and the cold. The wind chills were down in the low 30s, and we were cold and miserable, and decided, I think we're going to skip this because Sunday late, the forecast was another cold front pushing through that was supposed to get down into 30s, for the air temp, let alone the wind chill. So we wussed out, packed it up, headed down toward Texarkana, and we stayed the night at a very nasty hotel in Texarkana. It was a room with a door and a roof over our heads, so it's better than being out in the cold, I guess. And then we split ways. Neil headed back toward his part of Baton Rouge, and we headed on to Houston. Made it from Texarkana to Houston in a day, that afternoon, whatever. So, made it back. There were no real problems. Adrian's bike suffered a casualty. I'll try to insert that picture here. The winds were so bad up on top of the mountain at Queen Wilhelmina that his bike was pushed forward off of the side stand, and it fell over into another bike and shattered its new windscreen. And when I say shattered, it just absolutely decimated it. So So it was done, gone. Had to pull that off the next day, and Adrian had to ride back without a windscreen, but made it all right. So that's the ride report for this time. it's kind of a crapshoot this time of year in central United States, especially up in Arkansas. You just never know how the weather is going to be. Some Octobers, Novembers are really beautiful for riding. You get to see all the trees changing colors and all that. Other years, it's just a soggy mess. No fun to ride. Take the rough with the smooth, I guess. So, anyway, I'm headed in for my Sunday breakfast meetup with the boys, and from there, we're going to go to the east side of downtown is the plan. We've got a job over there to do. Not a big job, but probably a half a day thing. More on the ride report as far as the tires and the alignment and everything on the Ryker. The rear tire, the Yokohama Advan Fleva 701, is very good. Much better than the Kenda all season that was on here. This thing has got tons of traction. I rode on wet roads and all over the place, and you really have to try to break this thing loose. It doesn't want to spin, so that's a huge improvement over the Kenda. As far as tread life and longevity, I can't really say. You know, I've got 1,500 miles on it now since that tire changed, and you know, of course, it's not going to show any appreciable wear over that trip because it's just straight highway miles and no real adventure there. But it seems to be performing very well. It's got lots of grip. I would assume that it's going to have at least as good a tread life as the Kenda. The Kenda had 8,000 and change on it, and it still had maybe a little less than a quarter of its life left to go, but it needed to go anyway. The fronts are the they're not the all-season tread, they're the street tread from the non-rally Rykers, and they have more cornering grip. They're not sliding as often or as frequently or as easily, I should say, but it didn't really fix my dartiness. You can still see me getting jostled really good side to side. The alignment seemed to work a little bit. They re-zeroed my steering, and if you go back on any of my previous videos and look, my steering head is cocked to the left about 10 degrees. It's always been that way. So now that's been reset, and my right hand isn't much further, you know, because I was always kind of crab-legged on this thing, it felt like. It's tracking straight. They did a 0 for the steering angle sensor, the buds, all that. So that much of it's okay. But this bike still darts really hard if there's any kind of off-camber surface or an anomaly for one wheel. And it does it more than others, so the only thing that I can figure out is maybe it's got a bent control arm or bad thrust bushings. You know, the control arm bushings in there are a little wonky, so when they're loaded, it's allowing the wheel to shift and change geometry or something. I don't know. This bike has always had that issue, and I've ridden dozens of other Rykers now, and none of them have the same propensity. See this? I'm getting jockeyed side to side. None of them have the propensity that this one does. The one thing I will say for these new tires is they don't follow rain grooves like the all-season ones did. It still, you know, meanders a little bit, but not any worse than my cars. So that's a big improvement. We'll see when I get up to this section up here on I-10, a little further inside the loop where the real grooves are. Because, man, that's always been just all over the road. But all in all, you know, I just have to take it for what it is. Unless I want to totally replace the entire front suspension on this bike, then I don't think there's really a way to fix the darting that mine does. So just live with it. The Elka suspension is really good. I will say that it's a bit firm for my tastes, but it's not fully broken in yet. I mean, I've only got maybe a couple thousand miles on the front shocks and, you know, whatever it is, 1,500 on the rear since I did that trip last week. They might continue to soften up a little bit as they wear in, but I've backed out the compression damping on them almost all the way. I think I'm like 2, maybe 3 clicks from all the way soft, and it feels good now. It's still a little stiff, but the compliance is better than where it was super, super sporty, you know, really, really firm. It made long highway cruising a little tedious because you're getting jostling a lot. But I haven't messed with the rebound damping yet. It feels pretty good where it is. I might reduce my rebound damping a touch and increase the preload, or I'm sorry, the compression damping just a little bit, and see if I can find a happy medium between them. But other than that, the bike is pretty much sorted. I am going to get some stiffer end links for this sway bar, maybe some adjustable ones, and see if that helps with any of the, you know, the off-camber tracking. We'll see. Anyway, I'm running low on battery here, so I'm going to shut this down for now, and I'm going to charge it while I'm sitting at breakfast. So I'll catch up with you guys in just a bit. So, recording a little bit here on this groove pavement, you can see my body position, well, that was a bump, but just going straight over this groove pavement, it's not jockeying side to side 6 or 8 inches real rapidly left, right, like it used to. It's tracking them a little bit, but it's about the same as cars do. Okay, well, breakfast is done. My battery died on my commute in this morning, so I lost a little bit of the commentary, but what I was saying right when the camera took a dirt nap was on groove pavement, it's a lot steadier now. It's not darting left, right real rapidly like it was before. So that's a big improvement. And check out the McLaren. It's got the top off of it today. That's nice. Ooh, go now. So it still has a weird handling propensity, and I'm noticing now that they did the alignment and the steering reset on it. It's got a tendency now to want to turn really easily and keep tracking that direction. So if I turn the wheel a little bit, it turns in easy and keeps turning that direction instead of trying to straighten itself back out, which normally you would think that would be good, but it's actually causing this thing to be a little more wishy-washy than it used to be in that respect, where it wants to go hard one direction or another. So it seems like the new alignment fixed 1 or 2 problems and then introduced a new one. So I don't know. I've had cars that have done that in the past after they've been wrecked, after you've had suspension problems on the front, where they're very, it's like they're teetering, and once they lean a direction or start going a direction, they keep going that direction. And that's how this one's feeling right now. But I'll just have to get used to it until somebody comes out with adjustable control arms for this thing. Adjustable camber arms, something to allow some tuning of the suspension. It would be nice to dial in some more negative camber and definitely some more caster to kind of offset that lean turn propensity. It's always had a bit of bump steer. Bump steer in a car means whenever the suspension is compressed on one side, it tends to push offline, whether it's in or out, and that depends on caster angle. So, I don't know. I think there's room for improvement. So my job for today is apparently canceled because we haven't heard from the customer. Tried to reach him for 2 days. We had a tentative plan for today, and I haven't been able to reach him to confirm, so I'm not going to go. I'm going to go all the way to the far side of downtown for nothing. So I'm just going to head back to the house, and I think I'm going to do some pressure washing today. I need to pressure wash my driveway and maybe even do the back of the house, the siding on the house, because it's starting to get a little mossy. So my wife has had a huge honey-do list for me at home, things that need to be cleaned and fixed and reorganized and all that. She's throwing me a not surprise 50th birthday party in a couple of weeks. Not this Saturday, but 2 weeks from now. So I've got a few things I need to finish fixing and tidying up and reorganizing around the house. Make ready for all the guests. I don't know how many people there's going to be. She's invited a few handfuls of people. We'll probably have about 10 or 15 people over. I don't know. See how it goes. I'm not much for big parties. I enjoy my friends and people that I know well. I can do crowds if it's all people that I'm pretty familiar with, but I've never been one that enjoys large crowds of strangers, bars and things like that. It's just not my thing. So I'm on this groove pavement again, and you can feel it tracking a little bit, following the grooves, but it's not the violent side to side like I used to have. So it was something about those all-season tires, just the tread block width or something like that, really fought with the grooves from the concrete highways in Houston. So now that I've changed those out, it's more tolerable. It's pretty windy out here today, though. I'm getting blown around by the wind. There's no doubt about that. It's gusty from the north. See these flags up. We're standing at attention, just 15 to 20 mile an hour winds. It's pretty breezy. It feels good though, man. The temperature out here is phenomenal. It's great riding weather. So maybe today I will have a chance to get out and ride a bit, do my chores around the house, and later this afternoon I might get out on the twisty roads out west of Houston. Yeah, it's windy. It always surprised me how much the Ryker gets blown around by crosswinds. I figured being three-wheel, a little more stable platform, that it wouldn't get bossed around in the wind so much, but it does.